From the Rogue Word Studio in Dallas, Texas, it's The Lit Show with Jeremy Fee. New episode each Tuesday. Authors welcome, comments encouraged. Hello everyone, welcome to The Lit Show. I'm your host, Jeremy Fee. As always, I've got something special for you today. Death on the Nile. Death on the Nile is the title of both a short story and a novel by Agatha Christie, so don't get confused. This one's about the book, the novel, with Hercule Poirot as the detective. Death on the Nile is listed as number 17 in the Hercule Poirot series, though that number might vary depending on what website or list that you're looking at. You should know that it really doesn't matter what order you read these detective mystery novels in, because they're really standalone books, standalone mysteries. It's just that the character of Hercule Poirot happens to be the lead detective in a lot of books. I really don't think there's any reason to read them in order either. I have not read them in order, and I've been perfectly happy as I've been reading them. This book also features the character of Colonel Race, and he's got a whole series of books with him as well. And this one, though, he's just kind of a guest star. He just kind of comes in and helps out, which was really interesting because there's a 2022 film adaptation by Kenneth Branagh, which I was able to recently watch thanks to the HBO Max streaming service. And I did find that it was interesting that they just cut Colonel Race out. You know how it is with film adaptations? They tend to eliminate characters, combine characters, make it a little more action focused in places, speed the plot up for cinematic pacing purposes. And that causes a lot of people to wonder, should they even watch the film? Normally the book is better than the movie, and I definitely say if you're going to pick just one, either read the book or watch the film, I'd say definitely read the book. Hands down, it's one of Agatha Christie's best. A lot of people say that. I agree from what I've read from Agatha Christie's novels. But I like the Hercule Poirot character. I don't mind that he's an arrogant detective. If you get annoyed by really arrogant characters, then you might not want to read the book. It is from the 1930s, I believe 1937. Agatha Christie published it. The story, very much is what the title says. Death on the Nile has some wealthy people vacationing in Egypt who are on a cruise ship going down the Nile, visiting famous locations. And I think it's really neat to think about the 1930s, because at this point, that's almost 100 years ago. We're talking about 90 years ago. These characters are touring famous locations, and I like the historical, even though it's not historical fiction because it was written at the time, in the 1930s it was contemporary fiction. I like now reading these books that are set in those historical times, thinking back about the characters and how they lived their lives. I think that Agatha Christie does a really nice job establishing the characters. Some people complain the beginning of the book has kind of a slower pacing than some of her other books because there's a large cast of characters that you get to know. And that to me is one of the benefits of the film, because the film does eliminate some of the characters to make it easier to follow. I also really like the actor Kenneth Branagh. I enjoy his Shakespearean films when he's an actor and when he's a director, and he did a great job as the director and actor in this. The film is technically a sequel because Kenneth Branagh recently made a film for Murder on the Orient Express, in which he played Hercule Poirot, so we get to see him return as the character. With this film, they actually do a flashback to him as a younger man, Hercule Poirot, in the war, and you get to see some of the emotion of the character there. My cats are hanging out here as I make the video, so they're up here by the microphone. If you hear background noises, it's either the cats or it's because it's raining. I recommend the book. I recommend the film. I know there have been television adaptations for Hercule Poirot as well, TV series, and probably TV films, made for TV films. Unfortunately, I have not watched those for Death on the Nile, but this Kenneth Branagh version is really good. If you have seen the TV series version or the TV film versions, to drop some comments down below what you thought about them, especially comparing them to the new film if you've who's seen it. After I went on to HBO Max to watch this film, I noticed they also had American Psycho. And that reminded me of years ago when I went to the theater and I saw American Psycho. And then I went down a whole rabbit hole for the author of American Psycho, Bret Easton Ellis, and his other books. This month I've been enjoying reading a bunch of Bret Easton Ellis books, and in fact going back and revisiting American Psycho as a novel. I've been inspired even more, not just with Hercule Poirot and Death on the Nile. One of the reasons that I do like this story and the film adaptation so much is because it's a really good murder mystery setup. It's one of those to where you technically have the foreshadowing and clues, and you could be able to figure it out. I was very proud of myself. I was happy because I figured it out. And what's funny is I read the book back in March, and I just watched the film this month here in April. So there was a little bit of time between reading the book and watching the film. And I read so much in my mind, I was trying to remember who was the killer, how did it turn out again? But then I remembered with the film. The actors do a great job with the characters. It's a lot of A-list celebrities, a lot of great actors playing the characters. I kept waiting for Colonel Race to show up, and he didn't. Another reason that I really like the novel is because in an Agatha Christie book, you're expecting some sort of twist or surprise, and you do get that. But the book had an extra surprise, unexpected element at the very end. The film changes that up a little bit in the sense of timing, and I actually really liked the way that the film did that. I thought that it was a nice way to still present that something extra, but not with the time gap in between. But I don't give spoilers, so I won't get any more specific than that. I hope that you will read the book if you haven't read it, and then watch the film. I think it's a whole lot of fun. But that's all I had to say for this quick video. Every day is a good day for a book talk, especially Tuesdays, because Tuesday is the Lit Show. Peace.